Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second part of our exclusive English language edition of MoonTalk. Welcome back, the Formless One.
Yes, hello and welcome everybody! It's still your World Heavyweight Champion from MoonTalk, and Corona is running wild here in Germany and all over the world, and this is why we have our next episode in English, and we're talking about the SmackDown roster.
So thanks to Corona, this is a lot sooner than we thought this might come out. I don't know. Maybe... you're safe on the island, so
yeah, everything's shut down now. So yes, I'm safe right here on my beautiful island, which belongs to me, the $1 Million Man.
Nobody can visit you, and you have to prove that you're from Sylt if you leave the island and want to go back home. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome. I hate every one of you. Yeah, well, we already tried to do this episode, but we never found time to do it. So now we're doing it because WrestleMania is just around the corner, and before there's another draft or shakeup or whatever it's called these days, we wanted to go through the SmackDown roster to talk about the wrestlers. Where we think they're standing right now. Some have already left since the last time we talked about them. For example, Matt Hardy, who is now free agent and might go to AEW. We don't know by now. So yes, I think we will just start.
Okay, so the first name on our list.
Oh yeah, and by the way, we have a new randomizer, as you can see right here, because the last time there was some commercial in the corner, and we didn't want you to click on that commercial to make $1 million.
Because that is your privilege, and
obviously
nobody next to you. So I think we have a little issue here. Maybe there's also Xavier Woods and Big E on the list.
Yeah, because he put a comma behind Kofi Kingston, and this is why he splits them up.
Okay. So they will pop up separately if we...
Hopefully, yeah. I think so. So we can talk about Kofi for the first time. I think that makes sense. Yeah, Kofi, a veteran by now, I think. I think he started in 2008, maybe 2007, with his Jamaican gimmick. That he lost, I think, after 3 years. About time they started to push him in 2009 in a feud against Randy Orton, but it didn't catch on. Mostly because some people didn't think that he's ready to that day. He won the Intercontinental title, the United States title on a lot of occasions, but he was always pretty stale, I think. And they reinvented themselves with the New Day. And first as a heel group and then becoming a face group. And since then, it went all the way because they had a gimmick that they could now really live. I think those three guys were preliminary guys back in the day who had nothing for them going, and then they had a gimmick that fits their persona in real life better than the other gimmicks that they had.
I don't think that much is scripted for New Day, so they are free to do whatever they want, I think, to a certain level, of course. But I think Kofi is very enjoyable in the ring, outside the ring. You can just see that he's very emotional in the ring. yeah, so he loves what he does. So
yeah, I think so too. But in his title run as the heavyweight champion, which he won last year at WrestleMania, I gotta say he didn't catch on with the fans. It became boring after a while. He was too often he held the same promo about his family, about how he lived his dream, and so on. And that for me came on as a script where he didn't have that much influence as he might have when they're going out with the New Day. I think they have their free spare and their own ideas in the New Day, because so many people are backstage are saying, well, doesn't matter anyway because it's just a tag team. If it goes for the World Heavyweight title, they become a bit stricter and try to I think try to dictate what you say or what you can say and what you can't say. And this for me it skipped him in this clean cut I don't know, standard babyface. And I think this is one of the reasons why it didn't catch on. And that may be the reason why he lost to Lesnar in 7 seconds.
I think it was 8 seconds, but
what?
Only they know. Maybe Kofi knows. maybe 6, maybe 8 seconds. Who cares? He was he was the perfect guy for the road to WrestleMania last year. He had Vince come out and you don't deserve a damn thing. I don't deserve a damn thing. Nobody deserves anything. So that was the perfect storyline for him. With his sad eyes, he just wanted it so bad, and Vince never gave it to him. He had to go through gauntlets. Xavier and Big E had to go through gauntlets as well. And yeah, he never got what he deserved. So it's a moment. And after WrestleMania, that's correct. He lost a bit connection to the fans, I think. Of course, he had his tour, his promo skits in Ghana, but that was never enough, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he had the typical underdog storyline where he has to fight the system, and the system being represented by Vince McMahon at this point, because he said he's an A+ player, and Daniel Bryan said a B+ player, sorry, and Daniel Bryan said he's a B+ player, and this is why he cannot overcome the odds. And this was, I think it was his nickname in the video game, overcoming the odds, or against all odds, Kofi Kingston, whatever. And yeah, it's a typical storyline. We had that, some time ago with Daniel Bryan himself, or for example, back in the day in WCW was more like Ron Simmons, where they were charging or were going for the world title, but never really getting it. And in the end, it had the payoff, and people are behind them because they're in the contenders role, and this is what makes them thrive, because they want them to succeed. But when they actually succeed, you have to live up to the hype. And after that, maybe there was something missing for Kofi in all those years, and this is why it didn't got him over. Nevertheless, he's still a great wrestler. He's quite a good promo, and I think even in the New Day, he can still go and can still show good wrestling, good matches, and so on. So yeah, I think he will have his standing in the corporation no matter what.
So he's a blonde guy now, and in the tag team with Big E, because Xavier Woods will be out of action until December, or I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
End of the year.
he's out until the end of 2020.
So let's keep waiting. Whatever they want to do with New Day, it of course will concern Kofi as well. So we absolutely don't know what Kofi can do and will be given in the future. Next one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe. Okay.
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable. We don't call him by his new name, his new gimmick. Because
Shorty G sucks.
That is absolutely pathetic. He deserves so much better. One of the best purists, I think, in the ring. Along with Jason Jordan, who is out for, I think, 2 or 3 years now. So American Alpha was their ladder to success. And now Chad Gable, maybe on his own for a longer time. So he had a quite good match. The kickoff of the Royal Rumble against Sheamus. It took Sheamus much longer than we all thought he might take to beat Chad Gable, but that's it. He's just no more relevant.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Maybe he's too small for the company or whatever. This is what yeah, mostly doesn't connect, and he's not the charisma machine. Well, maybe that's another problem for him. Maybe he would. Some people said he would be better off on 205 Live, but if you send everybody who's just 5'7", 5'8" to 205 Live, then yeah, you're missing out on the other rosters. So they need some people, even that size, on the other roster. And yeah, they obviously don't know what to do with Chad Gable, and this is why he yeah, becomes a job guy to the big guys. And I can understand. I mean, if I see Sheamus next to Chad, it's a different type of man, of course, because Sheamus is what, 6'4", 6'5", and he's weighing at least 40 pounds more than Chad Gable. But anyhow, this doesn't mean that Chad Gable is not able to wrestle. He actually totally is. So I don't know if they should put him back into a tag team with somebody and leave it with that. Maybe with Apollo Crews or whatever, because Apollo was one of the guys who was kicked off by Sheamus as well. But as a preliminary guy, as a job guy, I don't need Chad Gable. Then they could easily release him from his contract so that he could go to the independents or to Japan or whatever and have good matches with other people, because having him on the roster just to job in 2 minutes for guys like, I don't know, Sheamus or whatever, Mojo Rawley, for example, he's at Raw, but whatever, they don't need him for that. So you can see that he can go, he can build up and can create great matches. We've seen that on NXT with the Revival and so on, but the Revival are in the same state, I think, in the WWE, because they don't fit this oversized superstar persona that Vince McMahon likes so much.
Maybe, but Revival so much more serious with their gimmick. They talk about wrestling, the dirty word, wrestling. So,
Yeah.
but that's exactly what Chad Gable also has to offer. So we have this storyline now between Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. He would fit in there. I don't know. Somehow there could be a triangle situation.
Absolutely.
Who is whose protege?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he could fit in there perfectly if Drew Gulak came up with Chad Gable as his protege and telling Daniel Bryan, "I know all your weaknesses," and Chad or Shorty G or whatever. Hopefully, they will rename him Chad. Then can take advantage of them, and he can beat you, and maybe he will beat him on an episode of SmackDown, and then at a pay-per-view. Doesn't have to be WrestleMania, but I mean, there's so many pay-per-views this year. Again, they could have a great match, I think, where Daniel Bryan gets his mojo back. So, anyhow, yeah, absolutely, we could definitely do that. But yeah, sadly, I don't see it.
The next one. Oh, okay. So this is listed as a tag team, but yeah. Do you want to talk about the team as they perform now?
Really. No. Let's talk about Ziggler first, and then about Roode, and then we can go on with the team. So first of all, Dolph Ziggler, also a veteran right now. I think he was in the WWE back in 2005 when he was with Kerwin White. Might have been 2006. I don't know, as when he was Nick Nemeth, and he was green as hell. I've seen him live in Hamburg back then at a show, and he plainly sucked. He missed his cues. He didn't really know where to catch on, but he had potential, and yeah, he lived up to it. When he first came up with the Dolph Ziggler gimmick, I absolutely loved it. I thought, well, now he's recognizable. He's none of those Mark Jindrak stereotype guys. He gave himself a look. He had a funny gimmick backstage where he was shaking everybody's hands. Yeah, like, "Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler," and he had 2 to 3 quite good matches in the beginning, even against big guys like Batista. And yeah, and he got over after a while, winning the Intercontinental title, I mean, first. And yeah, after a while, it grew a bit stale, but he reinvented himself and became a runner-up for the heavyweight title. And when he became the Money in the Bank winner and defeating Alberto Del Rio, the pop was a mega pop. I mean, this was definitely awesome. Nowadays, I gotta say, in my view, I think he lost his faith and he lost some interest in wrestling. And he also said that in some shoots that he needed to do something else. He needed to do his stand-up comedy. He needed some time off wrestling and whatever. The new and improved Dolph Ziggler, where he cut his hair short, was short-lived because it sucked so bad. There were so many things that actually sucked in the last years for him, with stupid storylines with Lana and whatever. He didn't really catch on to this. They tried to hype him once again when he had that storyline against the Power Trip against Triple H, where he won at the Survivor Series, but they didn't catch up with anything. They had nothing to offer. They had nothing to offer.
He should have faced Triple H the WrestleMania after he was the sole survivor at WrestleMania at Survivor Series. That would have been the biggest stage he could possibly get.
Why didn't that happen? What happened? Why didn't
I
why
don't
didn't they do it?
know. Sting came out, so yeah.
Yeah. So the bigger kickoff was Sting against Triple H, and I can understand that because of course Sting is a bigger name than Dolph Ziggler, surely. But anyhow, I mean, you gotta build up some new stars, and Dolph was ready for it. This was the second or maybe the third time where you could have done it, and they never did it. He won the world title 2 times. I think one time he had it for 1 day, and the other one time he got injured and held it for 28 days or something like that. And afterwards, yeah, nobody believed him anymore, and he grew stale. He was of non-relevance anymore. And now he's in that tag team with Robert Roode, and both of them don't have anything out of it, I think. So yeah, there's no profit for either of them.
And a couple of years ago, you always thought about the guys in the roster who busted their ass. You always thought about Dolph Ziggler doing that, and he got this restrictions. Don't kill yourself in the ring. You won't be doing that for 5 more years if you can control these hyperactivity. I think so. But when he lost that, maybe he wanted that. Maybe he said to himself, maybe that's 2 years, 3 years, but this is what I love. This is what I do, and this is my body and my responsibility. But
and this is what makes me. In some cases, I mean, he was often compared to Mr. Perfect, and Kurt Hennig did that as well back in the day. And so many people said, "Wow, he's bumping too hard" and whatever. But that's what made Mr. Perfect. So this is why he became such a star. But Mr. Perfect never got the break because there were so many guys up on top, like the Macho Man, like especially Hulk Hogan, that he couldn't get the big one in this time. And I think there are parallels to Dolph.
Interesting you mention Mr. Perfect, because I saw a lot of Mr. Perfect in Robert Roode. That's the way he talks, the perfect plex that he showed. So yeah, maybe not the worst tag team combination possible.
No.
It's just that okay, we have Roode, so the other guy we saw that with Gable, something with the name, and we combine the catchphrases, and in the end it's also glorious. But that's really exhausting after a few years.
Yeah, and I think it didn't really click in the first place, and it didn't catch on over the years. So how long are they a tag team now? 2 years? Yeah, we don't know. That says it all. I mean, you even don't know how long they've been the tag team, because it doesn't matter, because you don't see them as tag team wrestlers anymore. I mean, of course, Robert Roode came from TNA and he went to Beer Money and they had a great run. But afterwards, they split up that team, and Robert Roode became an instance for himself. He was a superstar then, and even Triple H said when he was asked in an interview, I think it was about 2011, around that time, he said, if I was to choose somebody from TNA to come over here, I'd pick Robert Roode, because he saw so much in him. And yeah, he did on NXT, because Robert Roode was a great heel there. But when he came on on the stage at SmackDown, they killed his heel gimmick. He was a face all of a sudden, and he had a more than mediocre storyline there. And then he went into nothingness. He had nothing going for him. Then they tried to do some Rick Rude stuff with him. That didn't catch on. They tried to put him with Chad Gable as a tag team, and it didn't feel right. So yeah, now we're in the same situation, just with another partner.
And you mentioned Triple H, so I know that he really had Robert Roode or Bobby Roode on his mind, and I thought, yes, that would be a great match someday, but I don't see that coming in the future now.
No,
since Triple H only, I don't know, maybe every other year he steps in the ring, so we probably won't see that, but could have been a great match. I think Robert Roode during his NXT championship reign was, to me, one of the best in WWE and NXT and everything else that I watched at that time, because he was so complete and so, I don't know how to describe. He just reinvented himself, and that was really important for him. And the NXT championship helped him a lot to do that and to develop his character. And I will never forget his promo where he came back as a baby face, and in the middle of one sentence he turned against the audience, and that really gave him a big push. And I thought, yes, he's a heel you want to hate, and because he's not telling the truth like many heels do these days, but he just tells you nothing you want to hear from him. He's a liar, and that really helped him. And his NXT championship reign was awesome. One of the best championship reigns in NXT, I think. So everything of that is gone now. Of course, he has one of the best entrance themes, but no, through the years, that won't help him anymore. No. So
absolutely, I think they totally lost it with him as a character, and I think Vince McMahon lost faith in him pretty early on. They don't know what to do with him, and yeah, you can have all the talent you want to, you can have all the potential you want to, and you can have a great theme, yeah, and you can have great in-ring work, but if they don't know what to do with you, and if they book you unsteadily, you won't get over. So yeah, and that's where he stands now. In my view, he's a mid-carder, and this is where he's at. And I don't see it going up anywhere. I actually just see it go down by now. So in this tag team combination, now I would talk about this tag team now. I don't even care if they win the tag team belts at a stage, because as a tag team, both of them have no interest for me. Yeah, I'm not interested in this team, because I will always see this randomly put together team that could have been two good singles wrestlers going for Intercontinental, United States, or maybe the world belt, but they're stuck in a team that has nothing for them going, and yeah, they might win the titles again, but yeah, who cares anymore?
When Roode won the US title, he had the same match every week. Was it against Ricochet? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Totally forgot about that. So he's completely irrelevant. But now you have these two as a tag team. They mock Otis. They that's just not their style, I think. Root is in his early 40s. Ziggler, I think, will become 40 this year. So, but they can go, of course. They can have great matches for the next 5 to 10 years. But I don't see if they can get the motivation out of them. So. But as a tag team right now, I think Ziggler can use this tag team more than Root does. Okay, Root is a tag team wrestler as well, but he can stand for himself. We saw that in NXT. He can be the arrogant guy that holds a championship, and that's just his style, not maybe in a tag team, two guys we don't know what to do. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think they just came up with that idea. Yeah, we have nothing to do for you, so let's put them in a tag team, and maybe it works out like Cesaro and Sheamus worked out for some years, but it didn't catch on with the bar either. Not in that way. I like them as well, but they did not become one of those great tag teams that you remember from the 90s or early 2000s.
Okay, so let's move on.
Yes.
We just mentioned them. The Revival. So first we have to talk about the contract situation. I don't know what's the current status is right now, but
I think their contracts are running up in May this year, and they didn't go for the new contract. I think they offered them $750,000 per year, and they turned it down. So they're on their way out, and the WWE can do nothing about it. If their contract is coming to the end of terms, so they're not releasing them, they are allowed to perform at any other federation they want to. So if their contract's coming up in May, they would be allowed to wrestle at AEW, for example, or at New Japan or whatever, at the next day. And I think they will, because AEW is interested in them. They have shown a lot of interest. They have had a Twitter war with them, and I think they will fit perfectly into the tag team scene that they have over there. For me personally, the Revival is one of the best heel tag teams that we have nowadays. They're going for this old-fashioned, grounded style of wrestling, remembering the Horsemen, the Mid-South style, pretty basic wrestling, but are able to do any style they want to. They can go with almost anybody. They can wrestle on the mat. They can wrestle from the high flying. They can go with the high flyers. They showed that with the Lucha House Party. They showed that with DIY. So I think they are great performers. Many people don't actually know how great they are because they hate them so much. Yeah, because they come off as a pain in the butt, but that's their gimmick. Yeah,
that sounds more like a perfect blueprint for NWA now. So
absolutely, they could go to NWA Power, but I think to be realistic, I think NWA Power is too small for them, and I think that other federations would pay more money.
Sure, but we all, I think, can imagine them do their style in NWA Power.
Absolutely.
Because, now, since Jim Cornette got fired. He loves these guys. He always wanted to manage them, but we won't see that.
He wouldn't do that in AEW, I'm sure, because he will have a heart attack after meeting Kenny Omega.
after the first match, Revival versus the Young Bucks.
What is wrong with you? And then he's dead.
Scott Dawson to me is a guy you see and you just want to punch him in the face repeatedly. So
awesome. Yeah, but I mean, this is awesome.
Right. That's you just have to hate him. There's nothing likable about that guy. So he really lives his character, and that's why they tried at NXT, I think, for 2 or 3 years to tease a split of the Revival, because Dash Wilder is he could be something like a babyface. Not that I would recommend that in this moment for them as a tag team, but he could be. Dash Wilder seems like a nice guy, but Scott Dawson is you just hate him. That's you can't turn him anywhere else. So
I think he could have a face run, but he's a natural heel. There's some guys who are actually natural heels and who can perform better as heels than as faces. There's also guys who can perform better than as faces than as heels. For example, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who I think has never worked heel. So some people just have that. Sting wasn't good as a heel. Goldberg wasn't really good as a heel.
Rey Mysterio, so many more. That's just in there. You can't tell anyone what they should do. You just have to go with it and see what happens. That's the way it just should go. So we don't see them a lot these days, so maybe WWE gave up on them, so that's...
Yeah, I'm not so sure if they're actually working on house shows anymore. I don't know. I would have to check that, but I think maybe they had the last match on the 1st of March, where they lost to John Morrison and The Miz in a 3-way with the New Day, and it was a house show. Their last match on SmackDown they had on January the 31st. So it's been 1.5 months now, and they're not going anywhere, I think. So they might perform some house shows now, but they are not being promoted on the shows anymore. But why not? I mean, it's even better if they're not on the shows, because people will miss them then.
Yeah, so they don't fit in WWE in this sports entertainment environment, but they could tell people about old school wrestling. They can provoke all the sports entertainment fans and what they believe in now, that there was a different time, and they just couldn't use it, which is a shame, I think.
Absolutely. And they were so over at NXT, and I sorry, but I don't get it. Oh, another one I don't get, Baron Corbin. Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe it's time now for Baron Corbin to be turned face. I'm yeah, I'm sick of him seeing him as a heel, but I'm not sick of him like saying, "Wow, I hate him" or whatever. But I'm sick of him like saying, "Gosh, this is dull." Yeah, it just bores me, and I'm starting to skip his matches. And when we saw the Saudi pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, the Super Shitstorm, I was, gosh, I was begging for this cage match, and it was only 12 minutes, I think. I was begging for that stupid cage match to end. It was so freaking boring. I didn't care about it. I don't care about him as King Corbin. It comes over as phony, as ridiculous. I don't know why people like What Culture Wrestling think that he's such a great heel, because people actually booing him. Yeah, okay, he gets his reactions and that's all good, but for me personally, it bores me to hell, and I think his promos are boring. The dog food storyline sucked ass. It was so stupid. And the years before that, I only liked him when he was a corporal. Corbin, yeah, when he was in this position as the leader of Raw, whatever, when he became the general manager as some sort, or the interim's general manager, whatever they called it, I think that was great. That fit him good, and they lost that, and now he's in my view, he's just a boring mid-card heel, but they tried to push him in the main event.
But even after that, after he lost his authority, he had his vest, he had his gear. You always thought he's something like an authority person, but he wasn't. So you could only sit there and wait for him to do something else, but that never really happened. And then he became King of the Ring, and I think it was Roman Reigns who said, "You know, you're not really a king, right?" But that's the gimmick. That's the style what heel King of the Rings do. But
yeah. You're not really a king, right? Yeah, obviously.
I don't know. Maybe as a babyface, but he. Do you think he can connect with the audience as a babyface the way he talks, not what he says, but maybe the style that he talks, maybe the I don't know.
If he can connect as a babyface, you think, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, I think he could do that. I think he could get over if he becomes,
because you watch Up Down Down. We have to mention that.
Not only that. I think it's not only that. I mean, he was a babyface back in NXT when he was a defeating machine. So they were protecting him, and he was beating up people in, I don't know, 44 seconds, and the crowd was counting down how many seconds he needs to destroy the people. But this was one of the reasons why they booed him after a while, because it grew stale. It's the Goldberg syndrome. If you win 100 matches in a row, people get tired, especially if you're not having a really good match. I mean, even the Ultimate Warrior got booed when he couldn't get his matches done, when he was wrestling Andre the Giant and beating him in 17 seconds. The people hated that. And of course, I mean, they could see what was going on. It's just the same thing: clothesline, shoulder block, big splash, and here it was clothesline, deep six, end of days. this is not a big repertoire, and it doesn't it doesn't click with the crowd after a while, because there's no emotion, there's no story in those matches. The story is, I defeat everybody in 2 minutes. That's boring. And I think if you put him in a spot where he can be a cool face, not the clean-cut face, but a cool face, I'm not sure if he should be a biker type or whatever, but he could be a cool face, I think, and he could talk it down. I don't see him in the main event, but he could be a cool upper mid-carder.
But he looks like a goof, like a bully with his beanie. His face is just so hateable. He's solid in the ring. I think he can show much more, but he had okay matches with Chad Gable. The first 2 matches, I think they were okay, but they had about 50,000 after that, so it became boring as well.
Yeah.
But that's really difficult, because you can see that he wants to portray something. He wants to he wants to be a bigger name, and he really works on that. But there's just something missing. I don't know, the way he talks, or
yeah, and I mean, not everybody can go to the main event. That's for sure. And I mean, not everybody is ready for that. He's a big guy. He has, I don't know if he really has a superstar look.
No,
yeah,
I don't see that. Of course, he's big, but he's very skinny. He
yeah, I don't see that either. I don't think that he has that recognizable look that you would say, yeah, he's a superstar. So this is why I said he could be in an upper mid card position, because he's big and he might be powerful and whatever, and he could be a cool guy. But that's all that there is. And I don't see that either. So I cannot see that he would be a main eventer, a main event heel, a main event face. I don't see that. That's, yeah, he misses something. He misses the superstar quality. He misses the match quality. He misses the mic quality. Those 3 things are simply missing.
But just if you if you see him on television, and you look into his eyes and compare that to the eyes, the expression of Rock, Austin, Triple H, and so many more, that's just pale. I don't know. There's no expression in his eyes. He just, maybe he is a cool guy, and obviously he loves wrestling, but I feel actually sorry for him, because I really want to like him in all that he does and that he performs, but I'm sorry. That's the big problem.
Yeah, but obviously somebody in WWE sees something in him, so this is why he's pushed that hard, maybe because so many people are simply booing him. But I think they won't booing him for long anymore, and I think they will be bored as well. And if he has no reaction anymore after a while, then yeah, I think he will lose his spot then. And there will be others taking that spot, and that's okay.
he doesn't get his introduction with all his accomplishments anymore. But
oh yeah, that's sad.
We all we all know what he did. He ended Kurt Angle's career at WrestleMania. He defeated Braun Strowman. He defeated Roman Reigns, of course, with the help of his disciples, or whatever you want to call them, friends. I don't know, but I don't see him in the main event with a world title. He can be great with storylines with Lacey Evans and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. That's just what he does. But that's a couple of weeks a year, and that's not nearly enough.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and I think he might be an interim solution for these days. That if you don't have any storyline, he might be the heel that comes into play to get some reactions of the fans and have some mediocre matches, but it's never the top feud. And I don't see that people would buy tickets to see Baron Corbin or to see Baron Corbin get his ass whipped. I never saw that. And Stomping Grounds last year proved that, because it was one of the worst sold pay-per-views of the decade.
That's because of the stupid name, but
yeah. So I don't think that's only that, because Great Balls of Fire sucks as well.
That was a pretty good pay-per-view.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. That I don't know the card anymore, but I think that was quite enjoyable.
Okay. It was okay. Nonetheless, a stupid name.
Big Show. Is he still around?
Yeah, Big Show is still around. Actually, he was on Raw the last time we saw him. But he is on a Legends contract right now, and yeah, I don't know if they got plans for him anymore. I liked it when he was back on Raw for some matches, but yeah, they didn't come up with something. But he was quite over when he came back out. He got a pop. The people enjoy him, and I think he could be one of those guys you need to go through to get to a higher point on the card, because he is 7 feet tall, and he is I don't know how many pounds is he right now. 300 and
right now, he started at around 500, at least in WCW, I think. But when he came back, I think at the Mayweather, that was 2008, he looked pretty good in shape. I think it was 420, something like that.
Yeah, I think he was 530 pounds at one time of his career. Yeah, and that's what he was built. And then he said he lost over 70 pounds, I think, which are about 30 kilograms. So yeah, but I think now he's around the 390 mark or something like that. He's a bit skinnier. Well, skinnier, yeah, if you might say so, but still he's a giant. He's a monster, and you could put him up to be someone who's not easy to be played with. Yeah, so he can knock you out. Of course, he's bigger and heavier than most of the guys. So of course, he will always be some sort of threat. He has won the world title at several occasions, so he's actually a name. He's not just a big guy like, I don't know, Gene Snitsky or whatever, who always lost. He turned way too often, of course. This is the obvious internet joke that's going on because you don't know if he's face or heel anymore. You could say that about Hercules Hernandez in the 80s and 90s as well. So but anyhow, I think you could do something with him, but I think mostly we will not see so much of him because he's almost doing promotional work.
And his character is just auf, as you always say. just the same with
it's just
Kane.
Open.
No, I don't think you can say that. But Kane and him, they went through absolutely everything. You can't sell any character on them, so that's it. He had a great run within his 20 years in WWE for maybe 4 or 5 years. But then he suddenly came back and he was the celebrity opponent guy you always wanted to see. Of course, he's an attraction, but and a nice guy who really loves the business and the fans, but he turned a zillion times, so you can't use his character for anything. But I think he can still go. I don't know his tag team match with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. Yeah, that's okay. He can have his 5 to 10 minute matches, and it was always very impressive when he had opponents like Viscera or Mark Henry or something like that. And even the matches against The Undertaker were pretty good. So
yeah.
And of course against smaller guys, I will never forget his feud against Rey Mysterio in 2003 when he had him on the stretcher and slammed him against the ring post. Yeah. And that's where he became a monster. And he can be a stable guy, he can be a muscle of the team, he can be so much more. Of course, we all remember Shokishi and something like that.
Yeah, the comedy guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can be anything.
But if you have a good storyline like they had back in the day when Shane McMahon said, "You're a joke," yeah, because you're showing the joke slam. Yeah, they put him back in that spot, in that monster spot after he was the Hulkishi and Shokishi and whatever. They put him back in that monster spot, and then he went to train a little bit more, and he became a supersized giant and was taking out the whole SmackDown roster at one night because he looked so freaking huge. And he can do that. I mean, he is at a point at his career, he has got it all. So he has not to prove anything to anybody. He's 25 years in the business now. He's obviously a veteran. He's obviously a legend, and he will go to the Hall of Fame in 1 or 2 years, I think. So he might retire this year or maybe the next year, and I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
Okay. Well, to the next one. Bayley reinvented herself alongside with...
I was going to say the same thing.
Alongside with Sasha Banks. They still stick together, and they have to. Maybe you can split them for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, but they always find back together, and that's really enjoyable. And you didn't watch the current episode of SmackDown in the Performance Center yet, but that was really entertaining. And Bailey is one of the few names who can really do that. And you respect Bailey for what she does in the ring and what she is able to teach backstage with Matt Bloom, A-Train, Albert, whatever. Yeah, and you just can have a lot of respect for her, for everything she does. Always fun, entertaining to watch, and yeah, she killed her Bailey buddies, and maybe she needed that. We have to wait and see for another year, maybe. So maybe she can become babyface again, but that's all in her future. Now she's the champion.
Yeah, I think so too. She reinvented herself as a heel. She was over with the fans at NXT, very over when she was the girl next door. She was the perfect underdog. She had a great feud with Sasha Banks back in the day, and a super great match that even outshined Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe, and that was great for them. They stole it. Hopefully they can recreate that at some point in the WWE, on SmackDown or Raw or whatever. She needed something in her heel turn because they didn't know what to do with her as a babyface anymore, and the storyline with Sasha Banks went on well because you could actually understand why she turned heel, because she said, why should I not be friends with Sasha Banks anymore just because she has an issue with Natalya Neidhart, for example. And I thought that was pretty good. The transition from face to heel didn't come at one day. It was planned over weeks, and that for weeks, and it worked pretty good. She's been criticized often for her matches because so many people say, well, her matches are dull, and or her matches didn't click that good with many people. But I think that's part of her gimmick at one point, because she put her repertoire a bit down and she wrestles more like a heel, and her work with the fans is actually quite good. And then we gotta say that she also has many people at SmackDown that are not that good in the ring, so that she could lead that match. For example, Carmella or Naomi or whatever. So they won't have that big and great of a match with her, I think. But even with Charlotte, the matches weren't all that great. Especially the first one was too short-lived, even if Bayley won. And I like that she won against Charlotte, but that didn't click so much. I think she will lose that SmackDown Women's belt in the next few months, because her run is over. But I think she had a pretty decent run, and she is now the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion ever until now. So this is something that she could actually talk about a bit more.
And she will.
Absolutely.
She's the whining and complaining Bayley now. Of course, nobody can really buy it who knows who she is, but she still delivers that as she performs it as really entertaining, and yeah, alongside with Sasha, she I guess she feels really comfortable in what she does.
Yeah.
This is the 4th B name in a row. I'm not so sure if our Sufi is doing his job right.
Me neither.
That is that's a bit creepy.
Okay.
Yeah, wait and see.
Braun
is
one of the most well protected wrestlers of the last few years. I think when he came up with the Wyatt family as the black sheep of the group, he was the muscle, even more muscle than Eric Rowan of the team, and sometimes I thought it was a bit misplaced because you actually don't need that much of muscle because you already had Luke Harper and Eric Rowan in that spot. But okay, when they drafted him to Raw, I first thought, okay, he's another Umaga, Gene Snitsky, Vladimir Kozlov type who's coming up, a big guy with muscles who beats up much more smaller chicken shit guys, and I like Ellsworth or whatever, and I thought, wow, if they're going for that all the time, it will definitely not go over, and they will bury him in 3 months. But they did good actually, because they pushed him pretty good, and even let him defeat Roman Reigns on several occasions, and he didn't lose that many matches until now. He's yeah, as I said, pretty well protected, but he could never win the big one, and this is what hurt him at the end. In the end, because he was going for that world title, I think 3 times now, and every time he lost. Sometimes he did lose in pretty stupid fashion. For example, against Brock Lesnar, when he was knocked out after 1 F5, after he, I think, put Brock through 2 power slams, and he kicked out and was taken down by 1 F5. That made him look weak against a guy like Brock Lesnar, and yeah, now they try to build him up again, because most of the times after he lost the big one, they didn't know where to go with him anymore, and then it was just those stupid strongman competition where he was shoving cars around and pulling trucks and whatever, and that simply sucked, and they had mostly no real storylines for him afterwards. Now they have some with the Intercontinental title after he beat Shinsuke Nakamura for his first singles title, and now he lost to Sami in a 3-on-1 handicap match. I think that's okay that he lost to 3 people, but if they want to go with him anywhere else, because with his size and his power, you cannot have him wrestle the undercard. That's not working. Then he can just exit the federation. You have to build him up as a main eventer, and they missed that on 3 several occasions now.
Yeah, he could have become world champion many years ago, 3-4 years ago, I think. He could have run through the whole roster, which he did, except of course in the dumpster match with Kalisto.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's a fluke. I mean, this was a fluke victory, yeah. And I think that could happen. That's okay if it doesn't happen too often.
But you always said he's the new Big Show now. He has his celebrity spots with Tyson Fury. The match I thought was okay for what it was. Of course, you hate it because you hate everything, but that's just that's just what it was. And they wanted Tyson Fury first against him, then SmackDown from Manchester. I think they put them up as a team, so that's okay. So they obviously trust him for being a company guy. There was a rumor a couple of years ago that he wouldn't care about the dress code. I don't know if that's legit, but yeah, maybe he lost a few possibilities for a few chances because of that. I don't know. Then his promos against Brock Lesnar, we all remember that when Lesnar and Heyman couldn't stop laughing about him and his promo skills, but he could have become champion, of course.
Yeah, and of course there's some things that didn't play into his favor. I'm gonna noodle you. Yeah. There's some things that simply suck, and yeah, let him look like a goof. Obviously, I didn't really hate the match between him and Tyson Fury, but as you said, for what it was, and I'm not that into those celebrity matches. It was good for a celebrity match, but celebrity matches mostly suck, and this is what it is. So they're there to create money and to have people tune in, foreseeing what happened, but. To be honest, if I compare this match to the match between Big Show and Money Mayweather, that was better. Especially when Big Show punched that little idiot. Slapped him.
He broke his jaw because Mayweather broke his nose.
Yeah.
Before that. No.
Come on over here, Mayweather. Yeah, that was great.
So I'm still confused about where they want to go with Strowman gimmick-wise, because obviously he left all that mystery Wyatt family stuff behind him. Now he's just a cool dude who can who jokes around, especially in his feud with Elias Samson. And that's it. He became tag team champion with Nicholas. He's very, very close to the audience. He had a very short heel run. Was that 2 years ago? Back when
because they had no other heels. That sucked. Yeah. In against Shield, that sucked.
Yeah, but. He's not a destroyed character. I wouldn't say that. You can still use him as the happy guy who takes all his chances. Maybe he portrays everything they wanted to associate with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But maybe Braun Strowman, if he plays his cards right, could be a more popular and more charismatic superstar than Roman Reigns in the long term.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think his mic skills are still pretty limited, but he if he talks and if he screams, he still has that monster kind of attitude. And even if he is the loved monster, he can still kick your ass. I think he works, and his character isn't that destroyed because he's so protected, because he won. and this is what makes wrestlers. If you win most of the time, you go over, no matter what the people think. So if you have somebody who stays on that level, fans still will say, well, he's somebody who actually needs to be beat. And not many people have beaten Braun Strowman by now. And this is why the character is not as destroyed as, for example, a guy like Kane or like Big Show was. Or even worse, I mean, guys like, as I said before, Kozlov or whatever.
So maybe if he could win the big one someday, that could all bring back the actual power that he used to have. But I don't see that right now. He's a friendly monster. We all remember the Alexa Bliss thing, whatever that was, but that was just natural. That was just him. That was just a guy who wanted to have fun in his job, and that worked.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah. So next,
Drew Gulak.
It's not with B.
Brew Gulak. Finally, he has a storyline.
Yeah.
Very early match of the year candidate with Daniel Bryan at Elimination Chamber. Yeah, he could use his potential right now. He's very, very skilled, and he is charismatic. So maybe Daniel Bryan can help him a lot to get more into the main show character that he could become.
Yeah,
really looking forward to seeing more of Drew Gulak with his style, not with his PowerPoint presentations, because that was just you knew exactly what was gonna happen, because no matter what he showed us, what he presented us on the screen, he got beat up. So and that's it. And there's so much more to Drew Gulak. He can have matches. He can have storylines within the matches. So yeah. Hopefully he's gonna have a match at WrestleMania. If it takes place. I don't know. That's still a big question, but I still wanna see 2 out of 3 falls against Daniel Bryan, where of course Drew Gulak has to win at least 1 fall. That would be great. That could be a big push for him.
Yeah, I think so too. Drew Gulak has become somewhat of a comedy character for once, and he has that comedic talent with his PowerPoint presentations and all of that. But he can still go in the ring, and I think he can still be. He has that serious face, and I think he can make submission moves look pretty hurtful and pretty realistic, and Daniel Bryan helped him getting over in this one, as he did so many times, I think. Yeah, so yeah, we gotta wait and see what happens next. I mean, he was the cruiserweight champion by now, and he did quite well on that occasion. And he's a mat wrestler. He's a chain wrestler. He's not the fancy luchador style cruiserweight, but he plays that well. He knows how to talk on the microphone, and I think if they know how to put him in the ring, he can have a career. He obviously he will not be a main eventer in WWE because he doesn't have the size, he doesn't have the look. But anyhow, I think he can be a great mid-carder.
Or maybe a future tag team champion with Daniel Bryan. Let's wait and see. Dana Brooke. So we're obviously with D now.
Yeah, maybe.
Dana Brooke. Go ahead. I don't really know what to say about it.
Yeah, Dana had potential, I think, to go over at one or two occasions, but they never quite ran with her. When she lost her boyfriend, she had a pretty rough time, and I think the fans knew that and were behind her after that. And I think they could have gone with her. She's a good hand in the ring, and she's not worse than Carmella or Naomi in my view, if it comes to in-ring skill. So both of them have been the women's champion, and Dana hasn't. And I don't get I don't actually get why. If those two could get the title, Dana could have had a run as well. But she didn't, and she's now the job girl mostly for the other women. She has I don't know, she has a prototype look of the Diva system. She's got obviously big balloon boobs and got way too big lips. I don't think that this actually benefits the realistic look that we have nowadays. They're going more for the UFC type of style now, and not so much for those glamour girls anymore. Maybe she came a bit too late. Maybe she would have done better in the era of the Candice Michels and all of that. But as I said before, Naomi or Carmella got the title, so I don't see why Dana Brooke could not get the title anymore. But anyhow, I don't think that they will actually do something with her. Her mic skills are limited. Her wrestling skill is mediocre, and I think that is why they're not going anywhere with her.
It was this week, to be exact, 1 year ago, when she interrupted Ronda Rousey's promo, and that was absolutely believable, I think, when she came back, but she never delivered in the ring. Of course, she's very athletic. We always see that, but that's just not enough. I don't think she's gonna stay in WWE for, I don't know, the next year. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that could be. I mean, if her contract's coming up, it could be that the WWE says, yeah, we have no further have no further job for you or whatever. That might happen.
Maybe she just needs a spot every week, like with Titus Worldwide. Of course, that was a stable, and she never really shined between all the other guys, but I don't see anything else right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, so
Yeah, go ahead.
When I think about the Usos, I think about great matches. Back in the Paint days, now they are more like the gangster days. I always have in mind that they always get in trouble. Then maybe one of them or maybe both get suspended, and then they come back and they do their stuff. But I think they are overall, over the last 5 to 10 years, one of my favorite tag teams. But I don't know if they can stay at that level.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the Usos are obviously one of the best tag teams they have in the WWE, and they recreated themselves. Now they with that Roman Samoan tribe, I think, yeah, they got over pretty good and pretty quickly, and they won some matches, and they had great matches with the New Day and all of that. But for me personally, I don't need them all the time. I think there's many other teams that I actually see rather more now. So the Usos are in the WWE for quite some time now, and the last 3 to 4 years, it's been the same. They turned heel once, and they got back on the face side, of course. And as I said before, they had some great teams, but at the moment, I don't need them that much. Maybe they need a better storyline at the moment. The last storyline with Corbin sucked.
Yeah, but they are guaranteed to have decent matches with teams like the New Day, and you can actually count on them in the ring. That's that can be very valuable. Oh, yeah. What can I say? They killed him twice. They killed the Wyatt family, and they killed the Fiend even quicker. So yeah, anyone can beat him from now on. There's no threat. There is no there's just nothing I can see in him
After the Goldberg disaster.
Right. So feel sorry for Bray, but no matter what he comes up with next, I don't think anybody would buy it. Even if he can defeat John Cena at WrestleMania, which I'm not so sure of. He loves what he does. He with his character, he can do anything he wants. They invested so much love, so many details. So that's the biggest shame of the last 10 years.
Yeah, they lost him. First of all, they booked themselves in yeah. Oh gosh,
Dead end.
Yeah, a dead end. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to say a one-way
Yes.
a one-way road or whatever. Yeah, one-way road, and yeah, I mean, Bray Wyatt, the character before that, did not go over as the new face of fear because, as I said before, when we were talking about Braun Strowman or whatever, you can have a great gimmick. You can have, or when we talked about Robert Roode, you can have a great gimmick. You can have a great entrance theme. It can all come together and fit. I mean, Bray can wrestle for his size. He can obviously talk, and he had a great entrance theme, and still nobody cared for him. And why? Because he lost fucking everything. And that, if you want to be the new face of fear, if you want to be a threat for other people, you have to win. But he didn't. Yeah, and I think his win-loss record was 85-15 or something like that. 85 losses, that is. So yeah, this means he's not a threat. Yeah, nobody takes him seriously. So he reinvents himself, mostly because he was talking to the Undertaker backstage, as he said in an interview. And the Undertaker said, "Bury the past," and he did. He buried the past, but he relived this past with this new character. He becomes that friendly neighborhood Bray Wyatt and creates the Fiend. And the Fiend is an indestructible force. Nobody can beat him. And he goes up against, I don't know, Finn Balor, and he destroys him in about 4 to 5 minutes. And he goes up against Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins cannot beat him. And then, all of a sudden, they say, yeah, you need to go for the world title. Why? Build him up further. Why does he have to be the champion? He didn't need the title. So they book themselves in a dead end, as you said, and he wins that title because obviously Seth Rollins couldn't beat him after, I don't know, 520,000 curb stomps. And then he is the champion, and then they see, oh, okay, maybe he's not big enough for WrestleMania, and we need somebody else to be the champion. So how do we get that title off of him? And instead of booking Bray Wyatt, the nice guy, against Goldberg, who loses, no, that's too small for Goldberg, they book the Fiend. And the Fiend loses in 2.5 minutes. Now he's dead again, obviously. Because Goldberg not only buried the Fiend, but everybody else who tried to beat the Fiend.
Yeah, that's amazing. It really disgusts me how they buried the Fiend, how they punished Bray Wyatt for everything he did.
Yeah,
since 2013. And
yeah, I think Vince McMahon again didn't get it. Yeah, but the Fiend was and still is one of his most over guys. Of course, he had to lose one way or another. But if the Fiend loses, it should have been an epic matchup and not against a 50-year-old guy who defeats him in about 2 minutes. This is just stupid. And every time that happened, let's say about, I don't know, guys who were undefeated, losing in that kind of manner, mostly lost their career after that. Think of Glacier back in the day in WCW, who had a run and won everything, and then loses to Buff Bagwell in 3 minutes. And after that, it was over. Because he mostly lost the matches after that. Because they lost faith in him.
I think it all started when they called him the Fiend Bray Wyatt. You had two different characters.
Yeah.
Not even Bray Wyatt knew everything about his alter ego, the Fiend.
Yeah.
Nobody had control over the Fiend. Maybe the Fiend could have even punished Bray Wyatt for losses. They never touched that. Then you have the Ramblin' Rabbit thing, who said, I know how to beat the Fiend. And we we never learned about the I don't know, recipe or maybe manual how to beat the Fiend. And now Goldberg just had some ridiculous, not even jackhammer suplex-like move on him, defeats him 1, 2, 3 to the mat, and nobody cares, and nobody ever will. Yeah, so the Ramblin' Rabbit thing is dead. The Funhouse, you can
Goldberg asked Ramblin' Rabbit.
Yeah.
You know, the trick is, Goldberg, the trick is you hit him with a botched jackhammer. How about that? Yeah, it absolutely sucked. And when I saw it, I was shaking my head. I told everybody on my live stream it sucked. It was just stupid. He was so well built up, and I don't know if he goes against John Cena now this WrestleMania. I don't know if I even care about it. And if John Cena loses, many people will just say, "Yeah, okay, he's not as good as Goldberg.
He's back." Yeah. That's fine. That's okay. But
he's still a part-timer, and that's why he lost. And I mean, you could have built the Fiend up and could have had somebody, most at best a young superstar, beating him the first time, because that would have given the other guy the mega push. Now you have a part-time wrestler who's way over his best years, beating him in 2 minutes. It's just fucked up. Just to have a WrestleMania card, and a WrestleMania card for Goldberg against Roman Reigns. They didn't need that stupid belt.
No, that would have been a big match on paper.
Anyways, obviously.
And or even John Cena could have faced Goldberg. Roman Reigns could I don't know, face the Fiend, but still lose. I think everybody could beat the normal guy, Bray Wyatt. That's okay, but not the Fiend. Not like they designed him to be on a pedestal, because he's not human.
Absolutely.
It's
just ridiculous.
And again, I feel sorry for Bray Wyatt, because I think he really suffers from that because they had such a big investment and all the special effects, all the big stage, the gimmick, the mask, everything. They had every single opponent of the Fiend changed their characters. That could have been such a big thing for many years.
Yeah, see, so you hate it. That's an emotion.
That's an emotion. Yeah. The real Fiend is Vince McMahon.
I love it.
So, Sonya. So is she Fire or Desire now? We discussed that a couple of weeks ago, but we never came to a conclusion.
Mandy is obviously Desire.
Okay, so Sonya is Fire, and she's on a losing streak.
For most of her career,
at least in singles matches within 2 or 3 minutes. So she's not the threat she could be.
I think
as a fighter.
Huh? Yeah, I think they were going for her as some sort of mixed martial arts girl. But the thing is, now that they have so many real mixed martial arts girls like Shayna Baszler, like Ronda Rousey, like Shafir, like Duke, they don't need that anymore. And Sonya may have had some mixed martial arts matches, but she's not even slightly on the level of girls like Shayna Baszler or like Ronda Rousey, and the people know that. And I think that this is the biggest problem she has right now. Her in-ring skills are I've never seen a real good match of her. Most matches of her are 2 to 3 minutes long.
Maybe in NXT as Daria Berenato. Thank God they changed that name, but
yeah,
that's
maybe
also
that.
in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that, but they don't know where to go with her, and her tag team partner is the more attractive woman to many people. She has better mic skills, and she has more storylines, especially with the Otis story right now, where Sonya's just a sidekick. And I don't see that much in her. I think if she was fired tomorrow, get it?
Fired.
Yeah, if she was fired tomorrow, I wouldn't really miss her, to be honest. So it's not that I dislike her that much, but most of her matches are simply boring, are mostly just kicks, and I don't see it. Sorry, I don't see it. And just that, or simply because I'm the first openly gay woman in the WWE. Sorry, but that doesn't make anything for me.
Maybe the backstage respect or something, but that's all just a moment. You can build a career on that.
Yeah, that didn't work for Darren Young, right? Yeah,
maybe Sonya needs her Bob Backlund.
Yeah, maybe she needs something else. Maybe they should split Fire and Desire, because they're not going anywhere with that team anyway.
But I think the women's tag team division is still a thing, and of course the Kabuki Warriors. They have singles matches right now a lot, but I think they are still a tag team they could use if they want to. But is she involved in the Otis storyline? I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, she tries to get Mandy focused on the matches, maybe, but that's
as I said, she's a sidekick in that storyline.
Yeah.
She's a sidekick. She may come up with some phrases or something like that. She's the girl who's standing in the background, smiling or laughing about Otis' stupid facial expressions. But that's it then, and there's nothing more going for her.
But let's say you split the team. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Mandy as a heel and Sonya as a baby face. Could that work?
Maybe it could work the other way around. That Mandy is the I don't know, Daisy Dukes knockoff, and Sonya is the jealous bitch, whatever.
Yeah, the punishing, the fighting machine that yeah. We've already seen that in the last couple of decades.
But yeah, to be honest,
very original.
Many times when you're asking about who's on the roster and all of that, and I go through the women's division, I forget about her. Sorry, but it speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Not if you think of them as a tag team, because that could still work. Maybe they need the championship.
But then they gotta make something of it, because Fire and Desire are always just losing. And when do they actually have real matches? It's not happening. If they want them as a team, then do something with them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I cannot say anything more about her.
Okay. How about Naomi?
Oh yeah, girl.
I'm amazing, and that's it.
Yeah.
You think she's some kind of frustrated, depressive since her comeback, but
I think I get the impression that she is. She stated that on social media, that she was taking some time off, that she needed to have that, what did she say, that poison out of her life or something like that, and she abandoned her social media account for some time, and that's okay. I mean, if people need some time off, and if she has some anxiety problem like Lars Sullivan or whatever, yeah, okay, that's okay. They're all human, and it is okay to fix their own issues. But the thing is, if you're standing in a WWE ring, you are a focus of a lot of people. That's what it's all about, because it's a show business. And you have to bring up something to the game. And the thing is, in ring, she's okay. On the microphone, I think she's underneath mediocre. She's actually pretty bad on the mic. I don't believe anything she says. And the only thing she's got going for herself is her entrance. She's got a pretty spectacular entrance. It's all smoke and mirrors. Wow.
Maybe she's just afraid to have more mic time. I don't know. That's
yeah, maybe she's lacking confidence. That might be, but I mean, yes. Let's be honest. If there were people in the '90s who are losing confidence on the microphone, they would have been released from their contract after a year. It would have been over then.
I think I liked her more as a heel, but she couldn't stay a heel because she's an Uso. and, and they had to show that and tell us every single time. And then there was this nice little storyline with her, and that was also Mandy, right?
Mandy.
Yeah,
great. Yeah, because they went for Total Divas bullshit.
And then they had so many twists and angles laid out for months to come, and they all destroy it in one episode. That's I don't get it. That's
yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing with the Lana and Rusev storyline. They try to build up something, and you think, oh, that there could come something out of it. It could happen something special in here, and then they go for no, stay with your wife, blah 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 blah. That's not, sorry, but that's not a good build up. If you tease so many things that Mandy is getting between her and who is she married to, Jim or Jay? I forget all the time.
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
I think Jay is the one with the new excellent haircut.
The tonsure.
I think she's with
Jay. Need Jimmy. Jonathan Fatu. So Jonathan Fatu
is Jim. John Uso, the third Uso.
There was no third Uso, Peter. Yes, I was it. It was I. Jonathan is Jimmy Uso, so she's married to Jimmy. So
okay.
And when they had that storyline between Jimmy and Mandy, they could have made something out of it. Maybe Jimmy was aroused or whatever, or she blackmails Jimmy for something, and they didn't follow up. And they had that stupid hotel scene, and after that it was over. And yeah, and this is what lacks in WWE, because they're not going anywhere with anything. They tease a storyline, and in 5 seconds you could make up 3 or 4 different endings to that storyline, but no, they take the most stupid ending. We just end it. Okay, great. How about a spider in a cage?
Yeah, that gets killed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If it was in that cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw you, idiots! So yeah, Naomi's storylines are non-existent. Now she's just the girl who comes out and always talks about some glow, like 5 years from now on. And yeah, there's nothing happening. It's just boring shit. And she was gone. She was gone for 1 year, and she came back after 1 year, and it's still the same.
And her Royal Rumble angles get more and more pathetic. Yeah, that's. I want to see her as a heel again. That could save her. Maybe along with the Usos.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
they are too popular.
Yeah,
right
maybe that could save her. That she has a heel run in the end, and maybe she will get some persona when having a heel run. But like this, nobody will care about her if she's not a contender. And she has a contender spot. She wins that belt. Everybody will lose interest in her, and you could see it in her specific title run.
She could have a Bailey heel turn when she comes out and destroys all the lights with another gear and
turn off the black light. I hate it.
And with a new theme, maybe something
I'm awful.
No, maybe something like the King Mabel beat, like I'm amazing.
Oh.
And she just walks down the aisle.
Calling all cars. Big Daddy N. Big Mommy N, of course.
And she's just disgusted by everybody.
By dancers. Why are you dancing, Carmella? Take this.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
Yeah.
The longer I think about it, the more I want to see it.
Okay. Everything's better than the things right now.
Listen, Calvin, can he do it?
Do it, Bacardi Cola. Okay, next one.
Ali. Mufasa?
Mustafa Ali.
He is
he's gone.
He's gone. Okay.
Next. Now, actually
we have a connection there.
Actually, no. Mustafa Ali is not gone for real. Some people thought that, but at SmackDown at the moment, we always see these, I don't know, glitchy like screens where his logo is coming up, and many people think that he's behind that. I think Mustafa is a good wrestler. He can be the ultimate underdog. You can make something out of him. He has shown that he can wrestle with people, and he was quite good on 205 Live. But they don't really know where to go with him. I mean, he's the fighter from the streets, the fighter of the people. And so many times it doesn't work out for him. His spot in the Elimination Chamber that he lost because he was hurt was taken over by Kofi, who went on to be the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. Of course, Mustafa Ali wouldn't have had the same fate because he's not that long in WWE, so he has to prove himself first. I don't see him as a main eventer, but I could see him as a good mid-carder.
Yeah, and we saw the match against Randy Orton, and Randy Orton was, he kind of thanked Mufasa for the match, and that's I think he can go against anyone. So I'm kind of curious about his new gimmick or his new comeback. I don't know what they try to put on him, but but there's already the next name in line. There's Mandy. We talked about her a few minutes ago, but
I think Mandy Rose is actually quite good. She benefited from the storyline with Otis. they don't know where to go with that storyline, I think, at the moment. And I think they really could turn her face now, because the heel character, I'm better looking than you, is over right now. And I could see her running with heavy machinery for some time. Having that haughty construction worker thing going, that could work. And I think they could go with her. She's not that bad in the ring. Of course, she's not the best, but she's quite good. She is quite good on the microphone. She can play, and she looks fantastic. So obviously, you could do something with her. They showed that, and Otis and her get a pop every time they're together on the screen. So why not go for it? If they're just going back to, yeah, she's a heel bitch who thinks she's better looking than everybody else, then you could actually just release her, because we had that 1,000 times. And I hate Corey Graves for calling it all the time. Oh, you didn't want to say anything about it?
No, that's
that sums it up.
You said everything.
Are they on SmackDown anymore?
I don't know. I think they're gone. Next one.
Yeah, I don't know either. Are they still with WWE?
I don't think so.
Wikipedia says yes.
Huh.
Anyway, I don't know. When did I see them the last time? I think the last time I saw them wasn't that Come to the Caribbean spot? How long is that? Was that ago?
No idea.
Yeah, great. Oh no! Wait. Here it says they're on WWC now. Well, let me see. Wait a minute. No, they're still under contract with World Wrestling Entertainment, but they're wrestling for the World Wrestling Council at the moment. Maybe in Puerto Rico, with their cousin or brother, Carlito.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, good. Well, I always thought they were actually a pretty good tag team, to be fair. But the WWE, they got nothing for them. And their stupid run as those matadors, that sucked. When they came back as the Colognes and tried to do something, I think they are good in the ring. They can actually show others how to work. They're good hands, but yeah, they're going nowhere. And I don't know when did I actually see them on live television at WWE. So yeah.
And they had a match with Tim Wiese at a house show, the biggest breakout star ever.
No.
We can talk a bit more, I think, about Sasha, who we mentioned when we talked about Bailey. She has a new entrance now, performed by Snoop Dogg, and she was off for 4 months, I think, before she came back and attacked Natalya. So then she went off for a couple of weeks again. Then there was this whole Bailey thing. She had a pretty good match, Hell in a Cell against Becky Lynch. That's all okay. So now I think they're gonna keep them as a tag team.
Yeah, as I said before, Sasha is actually a good performer. You love to dislike her. I think that the feud with Becky came too early, and the conclusion came way too early. That Becky, won that feud in zero time, and then they didn't know where to go with Sasha anymore. That was a big problem in my view, because they didn't know where to go with her, and just had her being the sidekick of Bailey then. And Bailey was always the sidekick of Sasha before that. So this didn't fit so great. I think so. They need to do something more with her. Mostly she's just coming to the ring with Bailey, maybe because she's injured a lot. But yeah, I think she needs something different if they want her to really go over.
And of course, they, I don't know, are they still the Boss and Huck connection?
I don't know. Maybe
that wouldn't fit to the current gimmick of Bailey, but she's not a hugger anymore. But they're just Sasha and Bailey, I think.
I think they could go for that tag team spot if at WrestleMania Bailey loses her title. Then I could see that happening. That her and Sasha and Bailey would go on and going up against the tag team champions. But mostly we have only heel teams, because the Kabuki Warriors are a team and they're heel. So the Iconics are heels until now, and Sasha and Bailey are heels. So we still have Fire and Desire, who would be the only face team then.
Maybe that's why the women's tag team division isn't really on top right now.
Yeah, it is, right.
Yes. Okay. Huh. Okay. Jeff Hardy, also a veteran, legend, and he came back to the empty arena SmackDown in the Performance Center.
I didn't see that by now.
Oh, okay. So I'm only gonna tell you he had a match against King Corbin.
Oh gosh.
And maybe you want to guess what happened.
King Corbin won, and that's it?
Wrong.
Okay.
Just watch it. Was it always the Twist of Fury?
Twist of Fury? What?
After the Twist of Fate? Twist of Fate was always Matt's move, I think, but...
no, they always called that Twist of Fate. Even with Jeff.
Okay, they called it Twist of Fury now, but maybe that's some new attitude. I don't know.
Yeah. And now he's one of King Corbin's cronies because he lost, and then he's the new lackey of King Corbin.
No. I'm not so sure about that.
And he has his old King of the Ring outfit when Ahmed Johnson just pushed him to the side.
The jesters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Future Hall of Famer along with Matt, I think, even
Obviously.
when they brought TNA back to life a couple of years ago. But great career so far, and he can help other superstars to be successful and respected, and I think that also he had his storyline with Samoa Joe, which wasn't quite the thing for him with his demons. We want to go any further than that, but that didn't work.
The storyline with Randy didn't work either. Yeah.
Yeah. With the screwdriver in his ear.
Great.
Spectacular.
Unbelievable.
No, he can still have great matches. I think he's also in his early 40s right now. So I'm gonna check that immediately. But still great in the ring. And that's it. That's what he does.
Did he have a good match with King Corbin?
It was very short. It was very basic, and
so he won with the
Swanton Bomb. Yeah,
yeah,
so,
of course. What? Who? King Corbin? Nobody cares. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, Jeff Hardy, of course, he can go, and he still has that superstar look to him. He has that superstar feeling. He's over with the fans. That's okay. He's 42 years old now,
yep.
So he can still go. He can still put some people over. I don't need him in the main event spot anymore, but as a upper mid-carder, why not? You can go with him in some feuds, I think.
Matt is gone?
Yeah, Matt's gone.
So, okay. Bo Dallas. Is he still on SmackDown? Yeah, I'm not so sure.
He's still there.
Okay,
I think he was wrestling on main event the last time I saw him.
Did he accompany Curtis Axel to his match against Daniel Bryan?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think Curtis Axel was just with Drew Gulak.
Just with Gulak. So B Team is history now, or
maybe could be that Bo Dallas is injured because his last match was on the 13th of November last year. In Switzerland, in Zurich.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Against Cesaro.
No. He lost with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode in a 6-man tag against Shorty G and the Lucha House Party. Great match. Great match.
So maybe he could become just as frustrated as his brother. Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
And then being destroyed by Goldberg in 1 minute.
Under a minute. With a spear to his shins, when he just drops through the through the ropes and gets counted out because he's injured. Or
my knees! I'm dead.
All you have to do is believe.
Yeah. And then he's Bo Dallas.
Then he lost against R-Truth, and that was over. So maybe Goldberg is Bray's R-Truth compared to the career of Bo Dallas when he reinvented himself as a believer. Everybody hates the Rotunda family. I think that's an agenda. Next one.
Yeah, they didn't do much with Bo, right?
Drake Maverick is on 205.
Wasn't Bo one of the first champions at NXT?
Yes.
Huh.
Seth Rollins was the first, but
okay. Well, that went nowhere, right?
Yeah, he defeated Jinder Mahal in the final, so that was an 8-man tournament, I think. And Bo Dallas, I think he became champion against. Was it against Neville?
I don't know.
They had a ladder match. Oh, that's I forgot all about that. Drake Maverick is on 205.
Yeah.
So we can skip. Or you want to say something about Rockstar Spud, who was really, really entertaining in Impact, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he's a good comedy character. It's not that yeah, but the problem is, yeah, as they said before, funny don't sell, and yeah, this mostly goes for it as well. I mean, yeah, it's not so much working, right?
Much bigger name, The Miz. Around for so many years. Current tag team champion on SmackDown with his longtime companion John Morrison, and yeah, and entertaining as always, as you can expect from him every time you see him. Loves his job. Maybe not the best pure wrestler of all time. Okay. Like Seth Rollins said, we always watch you try to wrestle, but really, really decent matches. Main event at WrestleMania, so that's a big name, actually.
Yeah, I think his face runs never worked out that well. His first face run sucked. The second one was a bit better, but he mostly loses. Well, he wins in tag team combinations or something like that, but mostly he loses when it comes to putting storylines to rest or having a big match. That's where he where he doesn't cut the mustard, and that's what actually, in my view, hurts him. We can talk about John Morrison. I think he's missing in the list as well. Okay. After that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now the recreation of Miz and Morrison, that's okay. I think they could go with it if they don't lose the title at WrestleMania against the Usos, just to have them get to the New Day record. So yeah, we gotta wait and see where it leads with the Miz. I think he if you let him have his way on the microphone, he's one of the best. In the ring, he's totally okay. So I think he could be so much more than this. I mean, he's a record time Intercontinental Champion and all of that, but he needs better feuds.
So now, do you think it's the right mix with Morrison again? So the hey hey ho ho thing, I I don't know. They are just. Do you think they really enjoy what they do these days?
Yes, I think so. I think both of them have their career, and they know where they're standing now. I think that John Morrison has his fun with it right now. I think he came back to WWE to make some money because he knows he can't go forever. I don't know how old is John Morrison now?
That's a good question. I'm gonna check that.
But I think that obviously he knows his career. 40. Yeah, okay. So he might have 10 years going for him. But I don't know how long his new contract is right now. Maybe 3 years. So obviously he will make some big money out of it. He knows how the WWE schedule is. Maybe he sees a last run for himself. I don't know. Could work. And yeah, now they're the tag team champions again. And I think they're just having fun with it. I mean, The Miz is in so many other projects, I don't know, with his wife and all of that, that sometimes I think he doesn't even care if he wins or loses.
Yeah, he's an entertainer, so he has his movies. He also mentioned the Marine 3, 4, 5, and 6 on SmackDown again, so that's a thing for him.
Yeah,
we can feel happy for him. So that's okay. That's an entertaining tag team right now, and combination with John Morrison. I think you always can feel the chemistry of a tag team when they really know each other and really like each other, when they spend time together backstage on the road. So that can be a big factor, actually. Now, you want to talk about John Morrison because he's not on the list?
Yeah, but he's on SmackDown, so we can talk about him.
Okay.
You can tell more about him on Lucha Underground because I didn't see that.
Of course, John Morrison is a guy who can always reinvent himself as well. We all remember his debut as Johnny Nitro, as with Eric Bischoff, and nobody cared about him. And then he had his first matches, and they were not that good, I think, if I remember correctly. And he had a great development in the ring, outside the ring, really charismatic, superstar look, head to toe. So yeah, I think WWE can be very, very happy to have him back after all he's been through. Impact World Champion, Lucha Underground Champion. So now they, of course, that's a bit of a downer for him, but he's back with his best friend, with his tag team partner, with his live tag team partner. So could be worse for him.
Absolutely. I think on the microphone he was never the absolute best, but he could hold his ground. In ring, he had some of the most epic moves in my view, when he had that moonsault with the ladder from the top rope and all of that. That was just amazing. He has great agility in the ring, so he can show some great matches. And actually, he's actually too cool to be a heel. because he has all those super moves, and I think the people won't boo that team that long. So in the near future, I think we will have a face turn, either that The Miz stabs him in the back, or both turn face again.
Yeah, but I think he can talk. He can sell matches, as you can see.
His selling is good. His selling is good.
No, I mean on the mic when it comes to promoting matches. We saw that in Impact.
Yeah, but maybe
also as a champion.
Maybe it has to do with what he has been written. I mean, I remember that Brave Star bullshit that just sucked. And there were some other stuff that was not working. But when they had their dirt sheet, when they were making up for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood skit, that was awesome. Yeah, that was great. In my view, one of the best skits by now. And this is a candidate for funniest skits for the Moonies this year.
Yeah.
Or next year, or whatever.
2020 in January 21. Okay. So there's the rest of the New Day. Big E and Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods is still injured, as we mentioned. Big E really enjoys what he does.
He's crazy.
We say that a lot about a lot of people, but he's insane. He's just he's really funny. There's many in WWE. There has been many who try to be funny, but he really is, and that's a very refreshing and welcome factor in New Day. And I always saw him as the leader, though Xavier Woods actually recruited Big E and Kofi for his power of positivity thing, and I don't know, but I see Big E as a leader.
Yeah, in the New Day, I don't see a leader actually. Kofi had that extra standing when he had that storyline about the world belt, but I don't see a leader in that combination, to be honest. This is a three-headed tag team for me, like the Freebirds, or I don't know. I see them on one level. And yeah, Big E is absolutely crazy. And when I saw them first on the internet, when they were going for the toy fair and all of that, and the Comic Cons, I thought if they would just do half of that in the ring, they would be enjoyable, and they did. And they are enjoyable, and that's it. And as you say, he's funny because he's crazy. Even if there's one or two jokes that don't fit, he can put them. He can still get them over, yeah, because of his craziness, and that's great. Xavier is a good talker. I think he has the best facial expressions of all of the three. Even with the Wyatt family, when they had that storyline, that was actually a good idea. That he was yeah, I know you hate it, but I think it's great.
Of course.
It actually worked. It was a storyline, and it was okay for what it was. They didn't go all the way for it, and that was what sucked in the end, because they didn't build it up as a bigger storyline. They were half-assed on it because they made a cut in the middle of the story, and that was stupid.
But there's a connection because the Wyatt family lives in the woods.
Yeah, that's it. Correct.
Awesome. Great idea.
Yeah, and I think Xavier is a great talker. He can. Sometime he was mostly the manager of the team because Kofi and Biggie were wrestling, and Xavier was just at the ring talking smack. Was going around with the trombone with Francesca and all of that, and he was so fucking ridiculous, and it was awesome. I totally loved that because the people hated him so much. Because he was fucking obnoxious, and that was great. And now he comes up with stupid shit. And I love Up, Up, Down, Down, obviously. And I love it when Tyler Breeze beats him on Battle of the Brands every freaking time.
We have to mention, I only watched the first maybe 10 episodes of Xavier versus Tyler Breeze. But the knowledge about the business and everything else by Tyler Breeze is really impressive. I never knew that. He knows everything from history on, and
no, actually, he had some mistakes. If you watch further,
really,
I
have to continue.
He mixed up some time spans. He was I don't know what he said. He was about. I think it was about that time when they first had the split of the roster, the brand split, the brand extension, and he mixed up some years there. And I was about what? Because I think they were talking about Edge, and they completely forgot that Edge was in the Brood.
Oh, and which was way before the brand split.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were talking about Edge, and I think they said, and he came up in 2002, and he came up in 1998. That's wrong, people. You're wrong. Wow. Yeah, that was a big mistake. And I think, I'm not sure if they had a blend into it that they had a written mistake, we were wrong or something like that, or they corrected their mistake in a later episode. I'm not so sure about that. But on that episode, they were completely wrong, both of them. But Tyler Breeze obviously is way more often right than he's wrong. And he is way more often right than Xavier Woods and the New Day. For example, he says somebody is doing the splits. In German, it would be Spagat. Yeah, and it is called the splits. And they say, well, why should there be an S at the end? It's doing the split. It's just one split. No, they are wrong. It is doing the splits because you're doing it with two legs. In English, it is actually the splits. And he was right. And the whole New Day was telling him that he's wrong. And he's not.
I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love people who are always right. It reminds me of me.
In the end, every wrong they see is actually right.
Yeah. So still, I like the New Day for what they are. I think they're still entertaining. I find them more entertaining than the Usos, whilst being there the same time, I think. And I have never a problem if the New Day is on screen. I know some people grew tired of them. I didn't.
Yeah, there's always a small group of people, especially on the Facebook page of WWE Germany, where
Why are you still there?
For some reason, they hate the New Day, and I don't get it.
Because WWE Germany is an idiot site, and you shouldn't be there.
I know.
Because Eltern haften für ihre Kinder.
can Google that. So if you
they do what's written in the script.
Yeah. If you want to know about Xavier's past, feel free to watch his TNA career as Consequences Creed, where he had excellent cruiserweight X Division matches. So yeah, he threw up in the ring once, but let's forget about that. Oh, now I mentioned that. Xavier's gonna hate me. So one last question for you about the New Day. How much longer is the pancake thing gonna work?
I don't know, maybe a year.
Oh, okay.
They got to come up with something else, I think. And they will.
They throw watermelons.
For example.
They're gonna kick watermelons into the crowd. Because they
love it.
Or pumpkins. Okay.
Next.
There's no name following.
Of course.
There's a gap. I don't know. There's a
Sullivan
between the yes, but is there one missing?
Might be. Could be. Who cares? That was John Morrison. So yeah, Lars Sullivan can make it short and sweet. I think he's one of the most overrated people by the WWE. I don't know why they think that he's so great. He's not overly big. He's not overly talented in the ring, neither on the microphone. Just because he has hands like cinder blocks, who the fuck cares about that? His matches are pretty dull. In NXT, he had 1 or 2 good matches with the right people. If he has the right people at his side, he can work as somebody. But to be honest, I'm not quite sure if they are giving Lars Sullivan anything after his past, after his homophobic posts, after his porno. Yeah, after his lurking and pornography, and I don't see it. He had anxiety problems. Now he's injured, and I think if he's injured again, he will get his release after that. I don't know who sees anything in him. I don't find him that entertaining and don't see a big superstar in him. But, well, yeah, that's maybe Vince McMahon. He's my new one-man gang or something like that.
Yeah, he's the new Snitsky, just without a gimmick. Let's continue. Okay. Daniel Bryan, we already mentioned him because of Drew Gulak. Daniel Bryan is a great guy who has incredible passion for this business, who really needs that, who actually, I would say, thrives on his injuries. So he gets better and better and wants to fight out of that and wants to get back in the ring forever. I don't know. And yeah, I feel really happy for him because you just wanna cheer him. All the green heel was pretty entertaining for what it was for the couple of weeks, and I think you really enjoyed that as well. But now he's back. He's one of the best technical wrestlers of all time, I should say.
maybe.
And now he has a very interesting relationship with Drew Gulak, as we said. So,
Yeah, I think so too. He reinvented himself a lot of times. Many people I saw on YouTube and stuff dislike him because they say with him it started that there's only phony little guys who are being world champions now, and wrestling is not the same anymore. It's so stupid because he's just a small guy and all of that. And yes, it's true, he's an overachiever. He definitely is. But as you said correctly, he is so passionate about it, and he simply loves wrestling. He loves the business, and this is why he can transfer that on the fans. And I was there on WrestleMania 30 when he won the main event, and it was ear deafening. The crowd was so loud, screaming yes. And then I don't care about some YouTube idiots who are talking about, oh, he's not big enough and all of that, because they don't get it at that moment.
I think many of them were even paralyzed because of the end of the streak, maybe 1 or 2 hours ago. So maybe one could understand that that it wasn't Daniel Bryan's night. I think even after he won the main event to become the world champion. That sounds weird, but I think the end of the streak was the main thing to talk about.
Yeah, that might be, but to be honest, the main event went pretty good for him. And as I said, it was freaking loud, and the crowd was happy for him, and that was just great. I think many people who talk about that are going back to the Attitude Era and are used to guys like Goldberg or like Steve Austin who go over about anybody, and then they compare him to these people. In comparison to Goldberg, of course, Daniel Bryan looks like a little boy or whatever, or a smaller guy, but that doesn't mean that he's not able to wrestle. And I think he can make the transition. He is one of those guys that I still find believable.
Yeah, because he really enjoys what he does.
Yeah.
And every single step he makes in the ring, you think he knows what he does, and he knows the ring and the or the environment so well that you really trust him. He goes to his limits, and you feel actually good for him because he's back in the game, and he wants to do this until he drops dead. I don't know. That's something
Many
Ric Flair always had, and
he's so passionate about it and wants to live it and eats and sleeps and breathes it, and this is why you simply believe him. So we could go on.
Okay. So there's another stable I think we can put all together as Lucha House Party is revealed, and we start with Kalisto. I always thought about him as the new Rey Mysterio, and yes, he had his great victory over Braun Strowman, as we mentioned in the dumpster match. I think Lucha House Party worked for a while, but now they are completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. For Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik, Vince McMahon is not into those masked Mexicans. You can easily see that. This is why he has to come with the most cliche bullshit for Mexicans. They have to have a piñata, and they have to have candy for the children and all of that. And of course, they gotta have a house party because they're Mexican. So yeah, that absolutely sucks. I think you could do something more with them. You could actually make them a triangle tag team that are high flying and going for the title. Could show some great matches where you would have that ooh and ah effect with some of their moves, especially Lince Dorado now in the Elimination Chamber with that super shooting star press and all of that. They got they got great agility. They could do that, but yeah, as I said before, with all body control that they have, it's not working for Vince McMahon. He doesn't see it, and many other people don't see it backstage. And so, yeah, Lindsay, Gran Metalik, and Kalisto are on zero position now. And I think that Lindsay and Gran Metalik have already asked for their release. I think Kalisto has renewed his contract, but the other two, I think, have asked for their release, and maybe they're going to Mexico, and it will be better for them then.
Actually, I hope to see Kalisto for many years to come. We all remember all the Solida del Sols off the ladder through a table, or what else he performed. That's pretty amazing, and I hope he will stay.
Yeah, one of the most overbooked guys in the history of WWE. It's not that I dislike him. I think he has a superstar look, and I think he can work. He's not the best worker in the ring. He's not the best guy on the microphone. Definitely not. But he has a look, and I can understand why he has a model type face. That's why they're going with him as the face of the company. He's definitely overbooked, like John Cena was, or like other people were, Hulk Hogan, whatever, you name it. But I think he can pull it off in some ways, and many people accept him as a main eventer. Anyhow, the last year for him was pretty boring because of that stupid King Corbin storyline. It just didn't fit. He was cheered most of the time. He was cheered after his leukemia diagnosis, and when he came back, that he had won the war. Yeah, and was in remission, right? And that's good for him. But I'm not so sure if that might backfire now when he is going up against other people. And I could see that at WrestleMania, if he's wrestling Goldberg in front of a crowd, if they're not in the Performance Center, I could see people boo both of them. As it was with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And that might, as I said, that might backfire. He's too overbooked, and since CM Punk, I still blame CM Punk for it. He said on the internet radio, and that went viral on the internet with 1 million clicks after a week. He said Roman Reigns is Vince's guy, and when he said that, After that, you could see on the television shows people were booing him.
Yeah, when originally it was the crowd who wanted to see Roman Reigns. We can see that against Batista as the final two in the Royal Rumble 2014.
True. He was the only heel in the last four, and he was cheered.
Yeah, because they wanted to see a bit more of him. Maybe not everything, just
and I think they
laid out for him. But
they wanted to see Daniel Bryan in that Rumble, and he wasn't in there, right? Yeah, they wanted to see Daniel Bryan, and it was not Daniel Bryan at number 30. It was Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio got booed. The greatest underdog gets booed.
So I think I kind of like Roman Reigns, but he's that's really difficult. He's not where everybody wants to see him, where everybody places him. He's not a he's not the big hero everybody wants to see.
And I think he's not the same caliber that a John Cena is, or a Rock, or Austin, and so on.
And then he has a Superman punch, and it gets booed, and he keeps doing that. And he's a baby face. He should be accepted by the audience. And but then I remember that one match at Fastlane when he faced Daniel Bryan. Then he is one of the two only superstars who defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania along with Brock Lesnar. Why? Of course he gets booed, but there's no direction for him. There's no, I don't know how to describe that. That's
there's no payoff in the end. I mean, you could have easily turned him heel after that, and they
many times.
And they didn't want to go for that because they're watching for the merchandise and saying, no, Roman Reigns is selling too much merchandise. This is why we won't turn him heel. Yeah, and I mean, of course you could go with that, but I think one way or another, you're getting in the way of him being a character that goes so over that people will miss him when he goes away. And they don't. If he'd go away now, they won't miss him that much.
And once again, I kind of feel sorry for him because he
it's not his only fault, obviously not, because they're putting him in that position. And if they're saying, yeah, you're the guy we're going now with, you don't say no to that. That's bullshit.
Everybody thinks about and plays around the scenario. What if Roman Reigns would have been the guy who betrayed the Shield against Evolution instead of Seth Rollins? Could have happened. So maybe it would have even worked, but
maybe. But
we'll never know.
That turn was stupid in the first place.
Yeah.
Because why should you turn to a group that you have already beaten twice?
We'll never know.
Yeah.
So you think he will become champion again at WrestleMania?
Yes. Absolutely. He will become champion again, and people will boo him for that. And that's definitely not what they're going for, but it will happen. And Vince McMahon doesn't care.
Awesome. And he's so strong and powerful, and he's the big dog, but he punches a cushion in the entranceway. Come on.
Yeah.
And nobody sees that. No.
Nah. The best clotheslines in the business.
We have to hide it. Okay. Heavy Machinery.
Heavy Machinery.
AKA the Otis Show.
Yeah. Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight. I think they're not where they should be. I think they're a good team. They're pretty entertaining. They could be way higher in the card, but they didn't know what to do with them after they came up from NXT. They had 2 or 3 matches, and then they were gone from television and were just wrestling, I don't know, at main event or whatever, and then they popped up every now and then. And just because Otis, as you said, the Otis Show, developed some moves in the ring and developed to be a funny character, is the only reason why they're portrayed. And now he has this story with Mandy. I don't know if that goes on or not. But I think there could be more to that. And you could see that on Elimination Chamber when Tucker got cheered to fight up against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And if you had actually written a storyline for them, a storyline where they get more into it, where they get into a real fight, I think that Heavy Machinery could really profit from that. But yeah, as with so many things at WWE right now, it's everything just half-assed, and yeah, with just one ass cheek you can't shit, right?
Is this really something like we look through the whole history, through the decades? There was always one guy in a tag team who became a bigger star than the other.
Who stood out, yeah.
So this is actually the Otis build-up. I'm not so sure if they split them up, if Tucker could become a heel, maybe. But I'm not so sure if I want to see that. I want to see that Otis has a friend, like they have a similar storyline with D'Lo and Mark Henry, when it was all about China, which was kind of similar to this storyline, except there was no Dolph Ziggler, of course. But I think most people want to see them as friends, as a team.
Yeah.
Go on. And they are a very impressive tag team with their double team moves. I like their finisher. I like the caterpillar. That's all looks awesome, and I want to see that for maybe 1 or 2 years. Then you can.
Yeah, they haven't had a run as tag team. Let's be honest. On the main show, they didn't even have a run. So why would you split them up right now? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Let them have a run if you need to split them up. And I mean, there were so many tag teams. Also, if you said there was one guy who stood out in every tag team, but there were also so many tag teams, when you did break them up, they did do nothing. Like, I don't know, Crime Time, like the New Age Outlaws after that. Most of those people after their tag team run did do not much. Even Hawk and Animal, where so many people saw the bigger guy in Hawk, when Hawk went to Japan because Animal was injured, he went into a team as the Hellraisers with power. Must have been Kensuke Sasaki. So, yeah, some people are just made for tag teams. And I'm not so sure if you split those guys up that Otis will have a good solo career.
Maybe not, because he
could
become something like Eugene, because
yeah. I mean, it worked with the Steiners, obviously, and it worked with Harlem Heat because Booker T stood out and Scotty Steiner stood out. Rick didn't do that bad on his own. I mean, sometimes it works, but many other times it doesn't. And there's so less tag teams where it works for both, like Jeff and Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for not mentioning the Rockers. So
yeah, because Marty Jannetty went pretty downhill after the split of the Rockers.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There's a Conway in the entrance.
There's a Conway in the entrance.
Yeah. Can you see him standing there with his guitar?
So maybe we can talk about Elias Sampson. I think Conway can hear us. I don't know. Should he join?
No,
maybe he doesn't.
Now you're out.
Ah,
okay. Now you're back.
He's gone.
Conway's gone. Yeah, he doesn't want to join because his English sucks. So yeah, let's go on with Elias Sampson. I think Elias Sampson is actually pretty good. He's good on the microphone. He's good in the ring. They could do way more with him, in my view, but they don't. I don't know exactly why. Especially why they're just going for that show trip, always sitting on the guitar, doing sometimes funny skits, sometimes not so funny skits. Now he's again gone. I don't know. What was he on the last episode of SmackDown?
Yes, he was backstage, had a confrontation with King Corbin again, and he was on the announce table. But
okay, so he will. Unfortunately, he will meet King Corbin at WrestleMania. Nobody cares.
No.
And hopefully, yeah, I tell you now, it will happen. So, yeah, Elias Sampson will win that, and that's okay. But they don't get him the break, and I don't know why. He's got everything. He's got a look. He's got the ability to talk. He's got the ability to entertain. And he's got the ability to wrestle. You could have made him a star by now, and they don't. And I don't know why.
He can play the guitar. He was really great at practicing the last, I don't know, 3 years. Not even mentioning El Vagabundo. But it all worked. He really connected with the crowd, and then he became a babyface, which worked. And he turned back, and I never really understood that. So
Conway just wrote here we should mention his former theme, and he's absolutely right. His first theme was way better than his new.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding. Of course it was. But if you're Vince McMahon and you see somebody's getting over with the crowd with what you don't like, what you don't understand, you have to change something. And if it's only his entrance music, I don't see any reason for that. I really like Elias Sampson. Of course, no main event player because of his gimmick, because of his yeah, maybe even because of his matches, because he can have show stealer matches, but I don't see that in the next couple of months. Maybe at the end of the year, or maybe in the Royal Rumble 21, a little bit higher up in the card, but not now. And after a couple of weeks, he will be gone, and nobody knows where he is, and that won't work in the long term. So I really hope he stays, and yeah. Please stay with us, Elias.
Yeah, I think he could actually be a main event player. They could do that because he's entertaining enough, but they're not going for it. And yeah, as I said, I don't see why. And he's destined or cursed to be in the mid card or the undercard, and he could easily be upper card. And yeah, I don't see that. I don't know why. Well, anyhow.
Honey. Lacey Evans. I think she has a better career ahead of her. Sometimes I don't understand what she's doing in the ring. We remember the tag team match with Naomi where she tries to climb over the top rope and drops down to the apron, and nobody knows exactly.
She tried a somersault and fucked it up.
Okay. She's not bad in the ring. We saw that on NXT, and you think she's bad?
Well, she's green.
Of course she is.
Yeah.
And now she already had a turn and could work with her daughter in the front row doing her. So that's. And she's corn dog mom, and she's everything. She's a USA patriotic girl, and
yeah, she was in the army and all of that, or a Marine or whatever. I don't care. That's that patriotic bullshit that's running around the United States for ages now, and I will never get that crap. But yeah, of course, yeah, we love that so much because we are the USA and we are destined to be great and we never make mistakes. Bullshit. But that's what the people want, or what Vince McMahon wants. But mostly that didn't go over in the last years, and I'm not so sure if it works with her. At the moment, it does. But in the long term, it gets pretty damn boring after a while. Yeah.
Love it or leave it.
Yeah. This is Captain Deutschland. God. How you know? Fuck.
She has a gimmick. She has a character. She gets more self-esteemed every month we saw her. She had a really bad start, I think, with her catwalk thing, and
Absolutely.
that didn't work for me, but
it didn't work for me either.
Now she seems to that she has arrived and can do something about that. She had a main event along with Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch, which we already mentioned. So that's okay. That's don't give her everything gimmick wise right now. Let it simmer. Let her develop something for her. That's
absolutely. Just handing her everything on a silver platter just because she's now the red, blue, and white girl doesn't work, and they will boo her immediately if they would do that.
But first, she becomes Lacey Luger, and everybody will love her.
Shut up.
Trust me.
The narcissist Lacey Luger.
We all remember her matches against Natalya. Of course, that was history making in Saudi. Her and Natalya, they kind of clicked, so so that worked for them as well. Let's forget about their first match on Monday Night Raw back in the days when she had that moonsault on
Awesome.
on Nettie's ribs with her knees.
That good.
That can destroy a career before it even started. So she was kind of lucky, I think.
She's so lucky.
But we all remember Edge's debut on Raw.
Great.
Which he won by countout. Go watch it.
Yeah. Edge still hates that match to this day. Moving on.
I think we already talked about Brock Lesnar, but
and he's on Raw.
Yes. So still on his pedestal and
booked to the moon.
I think he's very believable, but I know we have different opinions concerning him. Tamina.
She's still there.
I don't know. Is she injured? Is she?
I don't know.
Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, Tamina is. If I go back, I'd say she could have been something. They wanted to build her up as a monster, but then in the same way they got Nia Jax, and she was younger. She was more impressive looking, and Tamina was kicked to the sides, especially because she got injured that much, and she was super limited in the ring. I mean, the only thing that she can actually show quite right without injuring herself or somebody else is a super kick, and that's it. Her Samoan drop still looks like shit, and when she jumps off for that superfly that she did 2 or 3 times, I always thought she would break her knees. So I don't know what she has got going for her. Her promotion skills are miserable. And she's 40 now, right? So there's so many girls who are younger, have more talent than her, that I think she's the next girl on the release list.
Yeah, let her be a manager, bodyguard, whatever. That's the right thing for her, because she has some kind of look, actually. And the best friends entrance music. Okay, another big name. It used to be.
Yeah, used to be.
Shinsuke Nakamura, really, really big hype about his NXT debut against Sami Zayn. And the matches were great. He had a championship run. And yeah, then he got drafted to SmackDown and won the Royal Rumble. But that's it. His match against AJ at WrestleMania was awful. Hated it.
You loved it, you idiot.
No, I will mention that again and again and again. And now
like you hated AJ against Aleister Black.
Even worse, because I had really big expectations between AJ and Shinsuke. Couldn't deliver, in my opinion. But
yeah, the feud was quite dull. The feud was not. It was badly written, and they didn't click as much as we thought they might click. That sucked as well. 3 matches was way too much for that. The double kick in the groin was a great finish. Yeah, I think Shinsuke was a superstar at NXT. It got over. He had a great entrance. He had a great theme. He was booked quite well, even if he was injured sometimes. Then he came over to the main roster, and yeah, it went well for some time. He was the Royal Rumble winner, as you said, the first Asian winner. The first Japanese winner. No? Well, I think
yes,
Yokozuna was Samoan. So yeah, and then yeah, he went on to face AJ. They turned him in that process. The turn went quite good, but they didn't go anywhere because Vince McMahon said, "Learn English, pal." Yeah,
I would speak English.
Yeah, but again, why not putting him up with a manager? It's not that they couldn't have a manager for him.
He kind of has right now.
Yeah, but they had a manager for everybody back in the day. So why not put some Sonny Ono type like guy to him who's able to speak Japanese and English as if there was nobody? This is just bullshit. So you definitely could have made something like that, but you didn't. The transition didn't catch on, and he went to nothingness. Then his contract came nearly up, and they were putting a belt on him because they had fear that he would leave the company. So he signed a new contract, and now he is in the job squad with Cesaro and Sami Zayn. Yes, of course, Sami Zayn just won the Intercontinental title, but who gives a crap? Because that new design sucks, and nobody knows what the Intercontinental title stands for right now, because there were no matches for it.
Yeah, but still, maybe it's his right place at the moment, so he has someone who talks for him, and could be worse, I think. And he could be still excellent in the ring. He could go 20, 30 minutes against anybody.
Absolutely.
But
But we can always say that it could be worse. Yeah, of course, it could be worse. He could be a job guy to everybody, but he mostly is at the moment. Vince McMahon doesn't get Japanese wrestlers. That's it. Oh gosh.
Oh, one of your favorites. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Let's get down in the dirt. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she's still under contract while others are being fired. But yeah, she has sex with Corey Graves, so maybe that's it.
Moving on.
Yeah, I still think she's not pretty talented. She did not develop in the ring at any instance. She looks mostly totally bored in the ring, as if she doesn't want to be there, as if she just wants to be an it girl, maybe like the Bella Twins or whatever. She doesn't deserve to be in that ring if she doesn't want to be there. I'm sorry. And I mean, she had so many bad matches in the last few weeks, months, years, that I don't want to see her anymore. She is not that great on the microphone. Of course, she can go on with her holla bullshit and can make some jokes with R-Truth. And that's okay if she does that. But I don't want to see her in the ring anymore, and I want to see her going up for the title anymore, because she has had her run, and sorry, girl, you suck.
Okay, tough words. Let me try to find something good, valuable. I think it was the beginning.
Maybe she looks quite nice for some people. That might be her asset.
Yeah, that was her gimmick when she was with Enzo and Cass in NXT, and I think her downfall began when the tag team got drafted to the main roster, and she stayed on NXT, and that kind of broke her neck. Then she reinvented herself as the SmackDown Women's Champion. She defeated Charlotte Flair. Okay, credit to that. But that's it. I think she really enjoyed that time when she could talk about that. And yeah, the matches were sometimes even kind of watchable. So, but now.
Moving on. Yeah, one of the most underrated guys we have on WWE. It's the same thing with so many others, start and stop pushes. He didn't get his break when he should have had it. When I was at WrestleMania 30, the whole crowd exploded when he body slammed Big Show over that top rope. The crowd exploded. It was one of the biggest pops at that night. And they could have made him a superstar. And Austin was talking about that on his podcast to Vince McMahon, why they didn't do it. And Vince McMahon just came up with some bullshit reasons, because
it was the it factor thing, which he doesn't see with Cesaro.
Yeah.
And Cesaro had so many ways, so many chances, so many gimmicks and developments, but he just doesn't seem to arrive where he really fits. That's the main problem. And if that independent stable doesn't work, he will get picked to another tag team, or maybe a new entrance theme, or and so on and so on for the next years.
Yeah. I think he could have had a run as the champion when he had that that extra thing, even with the We the People gimmick. They could have made that work because he's believable. He's not the best talker, we know that, but he is a great wrestler. He is great at selling. I totally think he's believable. He has some kind of humor that actually works. So you could work around with that. And if you had Paul Heyman at his side and actually had him win, he could have easily been a world champion. But no, Vince McMahon doesn't see it. Okay, then that's that. And now he's an undercard guy who always shows great matches with everybody and, yeah, just loses all the freaking time.
He has a short but sweet match against Daniel Bryan this past SmackDown, but guess what? You already mentioned it. With a small package, yes. So
I don't know if I even want to see that SmackDown episode anymore. God,
please.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I have to. We have
a Formless week.
Yeah. And everybody needs that because we're all at home because of Corona. Well, then, I like Cesaro, still like him, still love him, seeing him. He's good at everything. You can see it at up, up, down, down. He beats everybody and everything. That's just awesome. So maybe he will get a run, maybe not as heavyweight champion, but maybe as Intercontinental champion for one last time or so. But I don't see it, actually. So moving on.
And
yeah,
we
house party. We had
them
covered. We had them covered.
Okay.
The other half of the bar.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, Sheamus had a break pretty early. He came up to ECW, I think, the WWE version of ECW, and wasn't long there. He had that powerhouse gimmick, which almost every guy of his stature has, and then he came up to the main card, to Raw, I think, and he beat John Cena pretty early in his career, which was a shock to many people because they didn't see that coming. And in a tables match, I think, so you could say it was a fluke, whatever, but he was world champion pretty early in his career, and many people didn't see him in that spot. Many fans disliked the fact that he won that. He's a Triple H guy, came up, he's buddies with Triple H and all of that. He had a decent run then in the upper mid card with feuds against Triple H and all of that, and he won his second title. Had a bit comedy run against Alberto Del Rio, which I didn't like on SmackDown that much because it was pretty phony and unfunny. And then they did not really have anything for him, and they turned him heel with his new look, with his new theme, and that didn't went so well. Then he had his I think, was the League of Nations run, was that before the Mohawk, or was it? I'm not so sure.
I think so.
Yeah, the League of Nations run sucked ass. League of Nations is one of the worst stables ever to be created. When he came back with the Mohawk, they did not have that much for him, and then he had his feud with Cesaro, and they made that storyline with Mick Foley and The Bar. As The Bar, they had a good run as tag team, even as champions, had some great matches against the New Day and the Usos. That worked quite well. He got injured. He had to pause. Some people said he might never wrestle again. He had his own YouTube channel. He seems to be like a freaking nice guy. He's pretty funny and all of that. But his new run now, he looks like an older version of his 2009 run, who just kicks undercarded to the shelf. And sorry, but that doesn't give me much. That don't impress me much.
Whew. Not much left to say. I think he had a spot. He had his focus because let's be honest, he's pale, and so that was it. He had a feud against Triple H. He became WWE champion very soon. He so no reason for him to be unhappy, I think. But over the years, he became very... I don't want to say boring, but it was always the same. With The Bar, it was pretty entertaining, and he seems to be a nice guy with the comedy stuff, which wasn't really good, but you showed a different side of him when he met Beaker. When the Muppets hosted Raw. That's okay. But now that's I don't know if they want to go back to the roots with him, if that's a reboot, or it doesn't help anybody. And well, could be worse, like we always say, but could be way better.
Yeah, totally nice guy.
Yeah. Buried. Okay, is this the last name on our list? Mickie James? Yes.
Is she still in the company? Is she still in the company?
That's a good question. I think she is. But maybe something like a Legends contract or something.
Maybe, yeah.
One of the best female superstars / divas in the last 15 years. Had a great career in TNA.
Wasn't she on commentary on Main Event sometime?
I think I never watched Main Event. But
I think she was on commentary. Well, she's 40 now, and maybe her career is slowly coming to an end.
She can still go. We saw that against Asuka, which was a great match. Never expected that, but
she had her
surprisingly good.
She has had her best run at the time when she was the Trish Stratus stalker.
Absolutely.
It was a great storyline. Her gimmick was great. She went over with that as Psycho Mickey, and even a face turn worked. She didn't work that good in Impact, I think, because Hardcore Country simply sucked. Anyhow, she had her last match. She had her last match last year in June, I think. And she was on the WrestleMania 35 kickoff in the women's battle royal, but she didn't last long in that one, I think. So yeah, she has had a good career, and she can still go and have matches, but she was injured, I think, in the midst of last year, and yeah, maybe that's why they put her on commentary. Yeah, I like Mickey. I just simply did just not like the Hardcore Country gimmick. I think
all the best to her and Donovan and Nick Aldis, of course. Must be a great and funny family.
Yeah. Did we miss something on SmackDown? Did we miss somebody? I'm watching. You can talk. Just watching.
I don't think so. Maybe some new tag teams that formed or debuted.
Let me see. Oh yeah, Apollo Crews. We didn't talk about Apollo Crews. We talked about him when we were talking about Chad Gable, but we didn't talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only guy that we were missing, Apollo Crews.
Okay.
So say something.
A great hype in the beginning, but I thought I mean, NXT is always that's a different world. That's a different universe. Everybody can shine there, so that was not a big deal. I think he was drafted by Shane McMahon after WrestleMania 32 when Shane got control over the post-Mania Raw. But just like that.
Yeah, pretty early.
No information about him, no skits, no build-up, nothing. They just met backstage and, oh, welcome to Raw and good luck. And that's it. And then he came out and smiled and had his great and impactful moves. But missing it factor. I hate to say that because that is something you would expect from Vince McMahon, but I think that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing much more to say. I think he went over as Uha Nation in on the Independence, and yeah, he suffered the fate of so many. He didn't have that much charisma, and this is what went down. Heath Slater is Conway's writing that we missed Heath Slater, and he's right because Heath Slater was fighting Daniel Bryan. He's on SmackDown at the moment.
Okay.
But anyhow, Apollo Crews is in my view is a great worker, but he lacks the mic skills. He lacks charisma. He went over in the Indies because he had great moves, great agility, great body control, and he can show all that. I always thought that he would be better off in a tag team, and maybe he will have a tag team sooner or later, but his run in WWE, in my view, is pretty much over. And if we're talking about Heath Slater, I think the same thing. Heath Slater's career started with the Nexus, and he never really got higher on that card. I mean, he was the tag team champion once, and that's all good. But has he ever won a singles title? I don't think so. He was always a preliminary guy. He was never the best of worker. He was the funny dude at Rhino's side with his "I got kids" trademark, which he actually stole, I think, from somebody from the 80s. So not much to say about Heath Slater. I gotta say, his career, in my view, is pretty much over. He's there to do the job for others, and I think he's also one of those guys who will be gone with the next release.
We should mention 3MB, of course, with one former WWE champion and one future WWE champion. And, of course, his comedy run with all the legends that he challenged every week.
Oh, yeah. Sure, yeah. Yeah, it was entertaining for what it was. But as Jim Cornette says so nicely, funny don't sell. And yeah, mostly funny don't sell.
Okay. We are not funny. We don't sell. But we've come to the end now. I hope you enjoyed our second edition. I don't think we're gonna have a English edition in the near future, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe. After all those thumbs down, that we're getting.
I think 14 thumbs down. I think that's an all-time record.
You hate it. That's an emotion. So anyhow, for all those of you who actually enjoyed these episodes and are trying to listen to us or learning German with us, you can then click the button, click the bell, and be ready not to miss any episodes of the Formless Week or the MoonTalk episodes, and stay with us.
Goodbye and tschüss.